Okay. All right, let's get started. Thank you for joining us this morning for our transition from middle school to high school with MEFA Pathway session. We are going to do something a little bit different this morning because we have a nice small group, and we hope that you're open to this. We'd like to go around the room, and there's only a few of us, go around and introduce ourselves and what school we're at. And so that way, we have that information. And then we'd also like to make this more of an interactive session this morning. Cheryl Nelson is from Lunenburg Middle and High School, and she is our guest speaker today. And she's going to be going through how she uses MEFA Pathway with her grade 8 and 9 students. So to ask questions in the chat or if you would like to jump in and ask a question, I'm going to unmute everybody and just you can self-mute yourself. So we can have, again, more of a casual interactive session, if that's okay. All right, so I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Jennifer Bento-Pinin. I am Director of MEFA Pathway here at MEFA, Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority. And we welcome you today. Asia?
Hi, thank you, Jennifer. I am Asia Stupart, and I am the MEFA Pathway Program Coordinator. So I work alongside Jennifer on all things MEFA Pathway. I'm so glad to be joined with Cheryl Nelson and all of you.
Cheryl?
My turn. Okay, well, I'm Cheryl Nelson. I'll be talking with you. I'm a school counselor in grades 8 and 9, Lunenburg Middle High School.
Thank you, Cheryl. And then David, do you mind sharing where you're from?
Sure, I'm a school counselor at Manchester Essex Regional High School in Manchester by the Sea, so grades 9 to 12. But we definitely have the middle school attached, and we work pretty closely with the middle school counselors.
That's great. Thanks, David. Emily?
I'm Emily Johnson. I'm a school counselor at Gateway Regional High School. And this year, 8th grade was added to my caseload. So now I'm 8 through 12. So hoping I can learn some transition stuff that MEFA can offer.
That's great. Thanks, Emily. And then Pam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Pam Brennan. I actually work for the company that we are the platform of MEFA. It's called FolderWave. And I just like to listen in on these to hear all the feedback that Jennifer and Asia and the rest of the group from MEFA get. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, so we'll start with, I'm going to just share some updates that MEFA has. So this session is actually considered part of our MEFA Institute. So I'm not sure, we send out many emails through our guidance curriculum, so you may have found out about this session through that. But in attending one of these sessions, you have the opportunity to earn PDP points through this session and through many other of the the events and things that we offer. So I just wanted to show you where you could access the online Pdp form in order to get credit for the session. So I'm on mefa.org here, and then I'm going to just jump over to the For Counselors tab, and then you'll see our main resource page. And if we scroll down a tiny bit, you'll see the MEFA Institute, and then we're just going to click on Learn More. So you'll see a link to our upcoming webinars. And then if we scroll down a tiny bit, we'll have the evidence of learning form. So this is brand new online. We just transitioned back in November to the online form, but rather than the old paper where we were you were filling those out and sending those in to us. So this is, we're catching up here with the online stuff. So please just, once you're finished, after completing this session, just come on in and get onto this page and fill out your evidence of learning form. And if you've attended any of our other webinars, you can get credit for those as well. The other page I wanted to point out to you on MEFA.org is our events page. So we, over the last year, as did many folks, we transitioned to all online events and sessions. In the past, we were going to, I think, 700 plus schools in a season. And so we, as did everyone else, had to pivot to that online opportunity. So on this events page, you'll be able to see, let's see, did I click on it actually? On our events page, here we are. So we just clicked on events. You'll be able to get a really good idea of what we have upcoming. So we're offering open events for, as you can see here, college financing. There are many that are related to MEFA Pathway, saving for college, attainable. So we have many variety of topics that you can access, and you can share them with your students and your families. They're all recorded, so you can share the recordings. And so we just we're really, we have a lot to offer here on this events page. So I encourage you to check that out. And then the final thing that I will share, just as far as updates, just is around Fafsa completion numbers and how those we've seen have really declined this season. I'm actually a tri-chair on the Fafsa Day Committee Mass. So,
Jennifer,
again,
sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
I don't think we can see what you're showing us. We only can see the transition from middle school to high school.
Oh gosh. Well, that was a faux pas. All right, let's see. Thanks, Asia.
No problem.
All right, let's see. Here we are. Okay. Can you see the events page?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so let me just go back really quick here. So this is our events page. We're on MEFA.org, and then we have our events, and then you just click on events and we have the whole listing. And then the PDPs are under the 4 counselors, and we will follow up with an email after this session and provide all of these links, so they're very easy for you to find. So 4 counselors, and then the MEFA Institute, and then the PDP form is, the evidence of learning form is here. Okay, sorry about that. All right, moving along. Okay, Fafsa completion. We know that our Fafsa completion numbers are down this year. So, as everyone else, the Fafsa Day Committee also found ourselves having to adjust to a new way of reaching and supporting the students and families, and how could we do that effectively? Over the last few years, we would host 30 plus events, throughout Massachusetts. So we also had to pivot. So this season we offered 7 open events. So we'd start off with a presentation that went over the form line by line. We had these events October through February, 2 in Spanish, and we reached over 750 students and families. So we have recorded those sessions, and again, we will provide these links in our follow-up email, but fafsaday.org has a myriad of resources for your students and families that you can share those recordings. We have an FAQ. So we encourage you to, if you are working with students at completing the FAFSA, to definitely check out that website, fafsaday.org. In addition, we have a hotline that the college planning team at MEFA answers Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And then we have an email address that you can, if you have folks that have specific questions around the FAFSA. All right, so we are going to now talk a little bit about MEFA Pathway. And for those that aren't familiar, I know Emily is part of our one of our schools that we consider our affiliate schools. So they have integrated MEFA Pathway into their curriculum. But David, I'm not sure if you're as familiar. So MEFA Pathway is a online web portal, college and career web portal for students in grades 6 through 12. It's a completely free resource that MEFA offers as an extension of all the great resources that we offer. And so what we'll be doing today is Cheryl is going to walk us through how she uses the platform with her students at Lunenburg Middle and High School. And Lunenburg is actually one of our newer schools. So within the last year, they signed on as an affiliate. And being an affiliate school allows the educators at those schools to have access to the counselor portal, which makes it a more robust experience for both the student and the counselor or educator, because they can in turn help support their student and guide them appropriately. So I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl, and we're going to actually, I have to make sure you can see my screen as I turn it here. I'm on the MEFA Pathway homepage. Can we see that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. And I'm going to walk through, or I'm not going to walk through, Cheryl's going to walk through what she does with her students, but I'm going to navigate the site as she talks. So take it away, Cheryl.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. It's really a pleasure. I'm honored to be able to present, because I really, since we went, some of us from our school district last year, went to the MyCap trainings. There was 3 scheduled. We went to 2 of them on 2 different dates, and they were spread out over the months. But we never made it to the 3rd one because of COVID, which was going to happen in March. But we learned enough at that point to decide as a school district that we wanted to have MEFA be part of our school here and to start using it. So because I'm an 8th, 9th grade school counselor, which is kind of unusual, I've been a middle school counselor for many years, 24, and I've done 6th and 7th grade primarily most of those years in a guidance classroom setting. So I've been working with kids with all kinds of middle school issues, decision making and things like that, as well as some career and college preparation. And what I found is that MEFA has so much similar, I don't know, thinking, I guess, that I was presenting to my classes, especially my 8th grade. Basically, I had my overall questions for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade was my essential questions. 6th grade coming into middle school, where am I now? Because they're transitioning from elementary to middle. And then 7th grade is, who am I? As 7th grade is exploring, okay, you're changing, you're coming into adolescence. Who are you really? You're not the kid that you used to be. Things are changing. And then 8th grade was focused on more, where am I going? And that was a lot more of the college and career preparedness and focus on the future. So whether they were going to stay at Lunenburg High or transition to another high school somewhere else. So since I was moved to be the 8th, 9th grade counselor, so I've got half my time with the middle school and half my time with the high school, 9th grade, I thought, okay, how am I going to do this? And there is no 6th and 7th grade guidance anymore. So these kids that I have the past couple of years as 8th grade haven't had guidance in 7th grade. So I combined my 7th and 8th grade. And in doing so, I came up with this acronym for kids to learn about who they are. And I made up this word, APLIVA, APLIVA, which is appearance for the A, and the P was personality or character traits, and L was learning styles, and I is interests, V was values, and then the other A was aptitude. And I would go through each of these and explain to kids that this is a formula for success. If you know these things about yourself, you can make better choices and better decisions. Well, lo and behold, MEFA is set up almost the same way. So, it covers the same thing. So I'm going to take you through as a student in a middle school. This is the middle school platform. And I would first have kids register. So where it says register here, I would have them complete that registration process, and that sets them up with their own account. And that account will follow them through high school. They stay at the same district. If they move out of district and they're in Massachusetts, they could transfer that account to another school that's participating with MEFA. So that's kind of a nice thing, and they can take it with them. The real advantage here is that kids are starting young. So this is almost like a portfolio or receptacle for a lot of information for each individual student to keep up to date, to edit, to go on, to explore as they're encouraged to do that regularly. So after they sign in, go through the registration, which is basically taking their name, address, and their school email and all that kind of stuff. After they they can just log in once their account is set up, and this is their dashboard page where what they will see. So you can see there's a lot of information on each screen that MEFA presents, and it confused me at first because there's a lot of different ways to go back and forth to get into different things. But if you go to the top where the tabs are, is where I start with the kids. And on the dark part on the top where it says home, and then create your profile, discover careers, and pay for college, those tabs, under each of those tabs, there are the tabs underneath. So right now, I think we're in the home, or we're in create the profile. Create profile dashboard. Now we're in home, profile, create your profile. So you do details. So this is where students, their tabs across the top, and I explain to them, this is information that you can update, you can put in anytime. And I believe the school, the affiliate school, can upload or use, and I haven't explored this enough yet to know how to do it, but some of your school's own information to put in here so it's more personal or specific to your school. So there's not a whole lot, school, it's just going to be the school that they're attending now. They could put in previous schools, but at the middle school level, I don't think it matters that much. Academics, we're hoping with the high school, starting with 9th grade, that we will have our program of studies. We're working on that now, to have that incorporated into the academic so that it will list the courses each year that students are taking. So for middle school kids right now, the academics, the GPA, weighted, unweighted, none of that really is applicable. So I kind of just glaze over that one. But the things that I do, the activities I focus on, activities, honors, and awards, those are important things. So activities and honors and awards, things like you see in front of you, I encourage kids, fill it out. Put in, even if it doesn't have to do with school, it can be outside of school. Maybe activities, you went on a missions trip over the summer and you want to report on that experience. That is contributing a lot to your experience. So you would want to include that in your activities, or clubs or organizations. It doesn't matter whatever. So kids would fill that out, and then save, and that information would be then collected. I think the next tab is skills and strengths, which is honors and awards was the next one. And skills and strengths is I think it's a list. And we talk about, okay, so these are actually, if I was to go to the Lunenburg High, defining who a graduate student is, a student who graduates from Lunenburg High. What is our goal? What is our mission statement for our high school? And I would explain to the kids that a lot of these skills are things that we are preparing you for the future, and that these are important skills. Getting high grades on a test isn't always the thing that's going to shine the most. So the skills in these areas are things to look at and see what areas are you most skilled in. Because some of us are more skilled in some areas than others. And what do we want to develop? So when it gets to goal setting, and we say, okay, if you're not organized, how can you set a goal to be more organized? And so that's in another section to set goals. Employment. Now, even for 8th graders, I would say, they are capable. If they shovel sidewalks or, rake leaves, babysit, walk dogs, that kind of thing, that's always an important thing to put down, because again, that's part of their experience as a middle schooler, that might lead to other things. So it's important to just document. Certifications, some kids, even I talk about kids, if they want to get a job, as a lifeguard or something like that, then you might need a certification for the water safety. And that's something that you could add into your certifications. If you're in high school and you want to, I don't know, you might need to be, if you're a tutor or something, or a camp counselor, you might be certified in CPR, first aid, something like that. And those things are important to include. So that kind of takes them across the profile, and I encourage them to go back. I saw kids, freshmen this year, who did this last year and said they got their letter L's for their sport, for their team sport. I said, you can go in and put that under your awards. Oh yeah, I already did that, Ms. Nelson. So it was good to, keep reminding students that this is something that you want to, kudos to you. This is a place that you want to collect that information. So with the 8th grade, basically, the next thing I would do is take them to the Discover Careers. And under the Discover Careers, there is another tab, I believe, Career Discovery Zone, Careers Discovery Zone. And these are 4 activities that I've asked the kids to do, to play with. If we were able to, have them in groups and work together, I'd have them do this together in partners or whatever, but we have this 6-foot distancing thing. So, but we talk about it, and I invite them to do this at home, maybe online with a friend, and just, they're fun activities. They're just simple. Do you like this? Do you like that? And you click on these things, and then it gives you a print. It gives you a for this one, for example, everyday things. They can click on interest. This has to do with their interest. So what, do you like animals? Do you like art? You can click on 1, 2, or 3, and then it will come up with some careers that incorporate those 3 or 2 interests that you like. So Jen, you look like you're doing all those 4. Okay. What does it come up with? Okay, engineer, manager, scientist, and then once you get into the careers, you click on that and it shows you all of this great, wonderful information, which is updated by MEFA yearly. So it's not old information. I don't know if you remember the career handbooks. I forget what it was called, but they'd be outdated. You have to wait and get a new one. So this is all very nicely available online, and it gives information. So those 4 activities, that, to go back to the Discovery Zone, there's 3 others. Says, who would you rather, favorite subjects. These are great things. They're fun things. They're engaging things to do with kids. Again, this is like a game that you could even make, a game out of this in a classroom if you have them in class. But if it's something that they're doing independently, I would say, to introduce it to them and let them go with it. So, but it does help them to connect the things that they're interested in with what possibilities there are in the future. So after the 4, activities. I assign my 8th graders, because I have them in a classroom, which a lot of guidance counselors probably do not have. And I believe after this year, we will not have, because they're reorganizing the counseling department. And when there's going to be one counselor for grades 6, 7, and 8, I don't think that there'll be guidance classroom in the schedule as it is for 8th grade right now. So I think a different way to do this, which is difficult to do, would be to share this with the staff and have each subject area maybe take on something that they can incorporate a piece of this into their classroom. But that's a whole nother area. But for now, the kids are doing this in my class. And then for 9th grade, so the 8th grade, I have them do a career exploration project. I make up a rubric and I give it to them and I have them explore. After they do, I have them actually go and do the interest survey, which is not on the 8th grade platform. So I have them do a couple other things. Their learning style. If you go to the 9th grade platform, and there's another way to get there too, but they do like an inventory of their learning style as well. And I have them do that. And I have them do a project to fold in their learning style, their interests, their skill set, all that APLIVA stuff, their values, and explore a career of their choice. And then talk about, after they explore and research, is this something that they would pursue after they've researched all of this information or not? Other things that I have them look for are what high school courses should you take for that career, or what college courses or majors, what would you major in a college if you were to do that, and then explore some of that information. So that kind of gets really beyond what 8th grade is about, but I'm trying to squeeze it all in. 9th grade, I do not have them in class. I tried to get into advisories. So Jen, if you would switch to the 9th grade platform, you see how simple the 8th grade, the middle school platform is. Going in as a 9th grade student, the platform is expanded. At the top, the tabs at the top for a second. Yeah. So when I go into advisory, I go across that top and say to them, look, you start at home and then you end up pay for college and all those things in between. So you're home, you're creating a profile, you're discovering careers, and then you're planning a career, and then you're searching for where to go to earn that career. And then you're managing your applications about how you're going to get there and how you're going to pay for it. So it's kind of a progression if you think about the way the tabs go across the top. And then under each of those, again, is the overview, the profile details to update. Under Discover Careers, for the high school, I believe is where the Get to Know Yourself tab. And this is where they can work on their interests, their work values, and their skills. And this, again, is very kid-friendly. It's very user-friendly to just go through and do these assessments, and they can do them over and over again. They can save it. They can go back and do it again and change it, save it differently. I think it keeps the last 3 sessions saved primarily. Those will give them results that look like this, and determines whether what their interests and values are primarily about, breaking it down into those realistic, investigative, artistic, and then they can read about that and say, okay, what does this fit with your personality? Is this something that you're thinking about, or is this something that totally doesn't sound like you at all? And it might surprise you that later on it might be something that does develop. So we talk about all the possibilities, and but these are the foundations that you'll be happiest and most successful in pursuing. So they're finding out about who they are. And then, yeah, getting to know yourself. I think there's another page, I think, is it career search? So they go through those in career search. Thank you, Jen. If you look at the categories on the left, they are broken down, I believe, into 16 different categories of work, employment or whatever. And then the next block is the interests, and then the values. And again, they can go right from this page to retake, use my interests, use my values, and they can say use what they have there already, or they can, do it again, take it again. But it'll bring them to, it'll narrow down the jobs or the careers based on results, depending on what things your interest, the things that you score highest in. So you can clear it, you can start over. So right now we are in, you see how the blue and the green and the yellow for the interests of these careers are primarily blue and yellow. So realistic and investigative. So these are things that, and if that matches who your character traits, then this would be a good, these would be some possibility, some things to explore. Note, there are a lot of them. And again, this takes them back to this kind of profile page for each career about what they do, what they need to know, what does a work day look like, what do you need to know, and what are important skills to have. And it compares the occupation's characteristics with that student's interests and which ones match. So yeah, so that's really pretty much as far as I take them. Like I said, for freshmen, I maybe see them once or twice in advisory in a year, trying to do, that and everything else that counselors do. But whenever I get a chance, I, talk to the kids about where they're at and remind them to add to their profile or keep up with doing some more exploration. Also this year now, grades 10, 11, and 12 are having kids log into and starting an account with MEFA Pathway and just kind of catching up and focusing on what maybe a sophomore or a junior or a senior would be more focused in. So the high school counselors that do grades 9 through 12 are also beginning to use this resource. Kids can, I tell kids, this is going to be yours through high school and beyond. My understanding is that students can take this information and create a LinkedIn account and transfer all of it. They can leave here with a resume and have a good start, even with just a high school diploma. At least kids are prepared to go into the world of work with what they have. If they choose to take a year off or not go to college right away, but so it does this all very nicely. It's been a great tool. So I'm going to stop talking and ask if you have any questions for me or Jen or Asia.
I have a question. Would you mind going back to the 8th grade portal and talking more about what those assessments and activities are? Because I'm not able to access that through my account, or I don't know if I have to make an 8th grade one, but I just want to learn more about what the 8th grade platform has to offer, if you wouldn't mind.
Yep, sure. Going back to 8th grade.
And I would just say that feel free to make your own test account for, for any grade level. So you can pop in and explore the site. But this is grade 8 here.
Right.
But I
I
will say that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have found that most grade 8 students are, it blows them out of the water to be thinking, they don't want to be thinking that far ahead. But some do, and for those that do, they can march right along with what's on here. And I haven't had the chance to talk to parents about this yet, but that certainly is a whole nother aspect for parents to be on board with students. So following up from where these activities go, favorite subjects and would you rather, again, they all lead to that careers page, a career search, if you will. And so we end up at this screen where kids can click on, their interests after I think this is where I have them do their interests. So if you clicked on down, Jen, where the interests are, and you click on use my interest, because 8th grades haven't done it yet. I think if you click on that box, use my interest. Oh, because so you've already done it. But if you haven't done it, I think it'll bring you to the assessment.
They actually do not have access to that, to the interest, values, and skills assessment in the middle school portal. It is a little deceiving. They can check off a box.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they can check off. They can check off the box, but it doesn't tie into. Yeah, because they haven't taken it yet. Yeah.
Does it provide a page where it explains all the different interests? And
not in the middle school portal. It does not.
Okay.
No.
That's too bad, because that might be helpful. So for the person that's on listening that does the platform stuff behind the scenes, I guess that would be an important thing, I would think, to have some summary of a definition of what are those things, so kids actually know what does it mean. If they're going to click on it, they pick and choose then what their interest area is, not based on the interest assessment, but based on what they just decide on, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
If you go, so if you click onto like any career here, students can look at and explore, click any, I don't know, anesthesiologist, assistant, there you go. Oh, I was thinking about going back to that page where it has the filmed. I don't know if it shows a video, if there's a video link on this one as well. If there's a video, I don't know if there's a video. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Now that doesn't look like an anesthesiologist assistant. That must be.
There wasn't one for, so there are a handful that don't have a video.
Okay, so there's an airline pilot. There you go. Okay. Yeah. And so this is where they can get some of that information. There's the video. Click. But then if you go back, Jen, go back a few screens like before, just to the career search homepage. This career search, that page. When you scroll down, it says explore careers by categories. And so here's those 16 different categories that kids can learn. Okay, what is manufacturing? What is science technology? And the careers will be listed in there. So that's another way of looking or exploring. So for middle school, the other thing is career list, so they can save some of the things that they've researched. So it looks like this person is interested in fine arts. All these different things, those are the favorites. Descriptions are on there, and that's something that can stay in there as a middle schooler and, go back to and look at it again and again as they move through high school and take courses in high school. Think about what would best be fit if that's the path that they want to take.
Now, Cheryl, can I ask, do you use the goals and strategies page at all?
No, I haven't. I've looked at it, and that it's a really good, if you go back to that goals and strategies from Create Your Profile, I think this is a worthwhile thing for kids to think about. Like, for example, if there's a skill that they want to develop, to talk about goals. And most guidance curriculums talk about goal setting. So this would be a great, you know, segue into that, where they could just put something in there and it says grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. So yeah, goals that they're working on and what they've achieved maybe through middle school into high school.
And I'll add too that this page transitions with the student. So there are a number of pages in the middle school portal, such as when Cheryl went through all of the profile pages, all of the information that the student puts within the profile pages, the goals and strategies page, the career list, and their digital portfolio all transition with the student to high school. So they do not create another account when
Right.
they get to 9th grade. It just seamlessly flows with them. But this page is one of those pages. And who knows, when the student gets to that high school level, they might, you know, their goals may change. So they can remove goals. They can add up to 3 of each type. So they can add a total of 9 on this page of each of the career, personal, and academic goals. But great conversations, right, to have with students.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any other questions? I don't know if that explained enough going to, oh, that there's pay for college. Again, if you want to get into the finances, and I talk about this with the kids a little bit, I don't go to this page, but the whole financial literacy, I think, is lacking. And I think it should start in the middle school for kids to be understanding the value of and money and how it works. So that whole piece would be something that would fold nicely into a math curriculum. But I know that teachers would say, we've already got enough to squeeze in for MCAS, and, you know, but again, I just think these are practical things that I think kids would appreciate knowing.
Absolutely.
So.
Were there any more questions or any other areas where we wanted to go back to?
It was very helpful. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Cheryl, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing what you do with your students. And I mean, they are so lucky to have you. They really are. This is
I have
wonderful.
a question for David. Since you're also a connected middle school, high school, I understand. What's your counselor configuration between the middle and the high school? Do you like how many counselors?
Sure. Well, even though we're a connected building, we are separate. But unlike in the former district I work at, and like we're many other districts that exist where the buildings are separated in different parts of town, it's nice to just be able to walk down a hall and take a left, and then I'm talking to the school adjustment counselor. So
Exactly.
there's one school adjustment counselor for grades 6 through 8.
Okay.
And then
that's what they're going to do here next year.
I see. There had been a more traditional like school guidance counselor that was middle school, but when he retired, instead of replace, and he did a lot of school counseling and group counseling like you have done. And then he also helped like with registering students.
Right.
When he retired though, he was replaced with an adjustment counselor instead, and she's focusing more on social emotional needs of students and meeting with students that way. I mean, we're a small school, so they can get away with just one counselor. And at the high school level, it's myself and my colleague, and then our director, who also has a partial caseload.
Okay. So here they're cutting down the high school, and I don't know how many students you have. We have about probably about 400 in each building. Okay. Roughly. Maybe a little bit more, but so the high school is split 9 through 12 for 2 counselors, and now that's going to be 10 through 12. It's going to be 9 through 12, 2 counselors. So, you know, having the seniors is a lot of work. I understand. I don't have, you know, the upperclassmen, but and then to take on all the other responsibilities for students, the 504s, and you know the meetings, and I don't know how involved, you know, with IEPs, but I think counselors are spread pretty thin.
They are. I mean, in this district, we we organize and we're running the 504 meetings. We did hire a new vice principal last year, and he's got a lot of experience with that. And so he's been phenomenal. He's been
Taking
really
it on.
taking a much bigger role in the 504 meeting, which is great. It's
Right.
taken some of that off of our plate.
That's great.
But
Yeah.
I miss the classroom time that I used to get with students in my old district. And I was familiar with MEFA Pathways then, but it's been a while because we don't use it here. And a lot of what MEFA Pathway here is offering is a Naviance as well. And so we're using Naviance, but
Ah,
I'm trying to compare and contrast, and there's some things that look a little smoother and tighter with Pathway.
I also was using Naviance when I was doing grade 7 and 8. And I have found this to be much more user-friendly for the kids. They were really getting tired of the lessons, like the in the grades, for each grade level, going through all those lessons. They were not real happy with that. This I think falls in more with what I was doing anyways in my own curriculum. So maybe because I'm just more fired up with this, but I do think this is easier. And the other thing, because we also use Naviance, MEFA is free.
I know.
Naviance is not. So that's.
Well, I'm sure if I brought it up to the administration, we'd probably end up switching for the cost thing. So I would want to be careful before I said that.
Careful, yeah.
And I'm sorry, because I missed one piece of this, so apologies if you guys already said it, but are you sending transcripts for the colleges and managing the college application process through this, or no?
We are still using Naviance. The high school is still using Naviance, I believe, to process that, but I think MEFA and Jen can speak to this. From what I understand, the trend is going towards MEFA being able to do that same thing.
Yeah, so one feature that we do have within MEFA Pathway is a common app integration. And we are actually 2 years into the integration with Common App. And we do have a handful of schools that participate this year, and we will be opening up that window to all of our current affiliate schools as an option for the 2021 to 2022 season. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely be keeping tabs on that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So yes, thank you so much for sharing all of this great information, Cheryl. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And Asia is going to round us out here with some updates and enhancements that have gone live recently. So we'll turn it over to Asia to kind of conclude our session.
All right, thank you. So the first update I kind of mentioned earlier is about the Common App integration. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, we are 2 years into the integration. We're very, very excited about that because it was a long process to get us there. So we're very excited to now that students can, still be in MEFA Pathway and still integrate Common App to send their documents and apply to college. The other update is the MyCap curriculum guide. And the great thing about this is that it identifies activities within MEFA Pathway that students can utilize, and as well as there are lesson plans per grade level. The other update is that we're very excited about, if you can't tell, is site translation. That has been one of our mostly requested feature. And we went live with 4 new languages, and those include Vietnamese, Chinese, Spanish, and Portuguese. And the site translation currently is available in the student portal. And it's great that we can provide this service to many students that don't speak English as a first language, but can access it still the same. The other update is in regards to the counselor landing page. Now, this is a great hub filled with resources that you as counselors can access. And the great thing about it is that you don't even have to be logged in to access this resource. It's interactive. It's is filled with trainings and videos and webinars, as well as our robust content library filled with lesson plans. These are lesson plans written by Jennifer and myself, as well as other team members on the MEFA staff. And they're customizable. They feature different categories that are great for different grade levels as well. And the last update is Jennifer and I do customized demos for educators like yourself that want to discuss MEFA Pathway. We also lead a variety of workshops for students and also overview sessions of MEFA Pathway with parents. So if you're a parent or a student who wants to know more about MEFA Pathway, Jennifer and I sit with you one-on-one virtually, and we will go through the entire process and answer any questions that arise about MEFA Pathway. So those are our updates. And if you have any questions or you're looking to learn more about MEFA Pathway, feel free to get in touch with Jennifer and myself, and we will be happy to help you. I think that's all the updates I have.
That's great, Asia. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we will follow up with an email, which will have some of the links that we mentioned throughout the session, in addition to a recording of the session, so you can share that if you like. But we just want to thank you for joining us today. And we thank you, Cheryl, so much for sharing what you're doing with your students. They're so lucky to have you. And we hear, are you still planning on retiring? Oh, they're gonna miss you. Oh, you're on mute. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, there we go. Okay, yes, I am retiring in June. I have mixed feelings about that, but like I said, the district is maybe because I'm retiring, and my coworker, one of the high school counselors, is also retiring.
Ooh.
So they have decided to really reorganize and restructure, and they are going to hire another assistant principal. So maybe what David was talking about, maybe that administrator might take on some of the meetings and things, 504s, which would be great. And free up the counselors. But yeah, so yeah, see what's on the next horizon.
Right.
I'd love to send me.
Well, we wish you luck with your transition, and yeah, again, thank you for joining. And yeah, everyone have a great day. The sun's out.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.